Just when you thought you had seen all the blue fragrances you could possibly see, they come out with some more.
I finally found what I'm missing, and now you got all my attention. Driving me wild, got me wishing that you were all mine. You're irresistible, so refreshing. You're irresistible, tell the essence. I can feel your energy all over me. Close my eyes and I breathe in. You're irresistible.
What's up, fam? It's Cam and welcome back to CFR. Before we get started, I know that there's a lot going on with the COVID-19. I hope that all of you are safe. I hope that all your family is safe. And our hearts go out to the rest of the world for those who are infected or anybody who's infected here in the US, anyone who's lost a loved one. Guys, please take care of each other. And we're gonna try to batch out enough videos to give you something to watch while you're cooped up. So I know a lot of you are tired of the blue wave of fragrances, and I think everybody's just kind of get their take on it or whatever. But strap in, there's a lot more that have come out and a lot more that are coming out. So I guess while we're weathering this storm of COVID-19, we'll weather the storm of these blue fragrances, and I'll do my best to let you know if they're worth it. So what we're gonna do today is we're gonna put up the new Acqua Di Gio Profondo versus the new YSL Y Eau Fraiche. And I have spent a little bit of time with both of these. I've spent enough time with them to give a fair assessment. I haven't worn them like a ton, but I have got a few full wearing. So we'll see how this one fares and find out if it's worth it, if you should go ahead and get them now, or if you should wait till they get to discounters. Now I know that these fragrances are not readily available in the US, or at least from what I've seen here in the Carolinas anyway. I did order these from sweetcare.com, which is in Portugal, and there is a hefty shipping price. They didn't, it didn't take like a super long time for them to get here, but it does say like a week, 2 weeks. I think it took maybe about 8 days for them to get here. Now, when you see the price on the website, it'll be in different currency, and even when it translates to like the US dollar, they still seem to be pretty reasonable, but when they slap on like a $25 shipping fee, that's where it can get a little bit pricey. So this may help you decide if it's time to do that or not. So the original Armani Acqua Di Gio is like the all-time highest selling fragrance or men's fragrance ever. And it had a really strong follow-up when they came out with the Profumo, and this one basically just really ruled the world for a while. And a lot of people, including myself, slept on the Absolute. This one has absolutely stunned me with how good it is. Now, don't get me wrong, I still absolutely love this, but I wore this so much. This was a nice change. But when we get to a blue version of this, how original can it be? Let's find out. Profondo opens up really sweet. I love the opening of this fragrance. It has a really, really sweet and juicy mandarin note on the top that actually, it comes off really, really sweet. It almost has a slight effervescence, a little sparkle to it. The sillage is nice. Unfortunately, that sillage does fade fairly quickly. I'd say probably maybe within the first 45 minutes to an hour, it's going to pretty much go to a skin scent. But after that opening of that sweet mandarin, it does have like a slight bitterness. It's more like maybe like a less ripe mandarin maybe, but it still smells really good. So you get the sweet, you get the sour, and then as it dries down, it starts to go more into like a salty aquatic citrus fragrance. So in the mid, you're gonna get some rosemary, some cypress, and some lavender. That lavender is really nice, and it also carries into where it dries down, which pretty much becomes like a musky amberwood base with a little bit of saltiness on the top. And of course, when you get in that musk, it is slightly salty anyway, but it's more of like an aquatic salty musky fragrance on the dry down. The performance on this was a little bit disappointing. I was hoping it would do a little bit better. Now we know on blue fragrances, aquatic fragrances, you know, more of your summertime fragrances, 6 hours is good for that type of fragrance. This one actually lasted on my skin, and usually like I am able to get a little bit better performance. I wrote down it was like 4.5, but I would just say 4 hours just to be fair. Some of you may, I'd just say maybe between 4 to 5 hours tops. And of course, if you have skin that is like a sponge, you may not get that. So this is a nice, you know, it's a nice citrus fragrance. It's light, it's airy. It is, you know, definitely like a casual summertime fragrance. I do not dislike it. I was just a little bit disappointed with how the performance went, especially like even with this fragrance. This one will fool you as far as like, you know, how long you're getting through and still pulling compliments, still being able to smell it. I actually felt that this one was lacking at first, but it actually does carry over better. And then of course, when you have the strong backbone of this one, it's going to outlast, you know, the original formulation. So as far as like, I don't have the original anymore. I've went through multiple bottles of that. I've had the Essenza, which brings me to this. I recently got scammed on a bottle of Essenza. And one of the first things that I noticed was the cap, but it was just a lighter cap and it wasn't a magnetic cap. Now, like on the Profumo, you're gonna have your magnetic cap. The Absolute does not, but it's a sturdy Armani cap. The one I had was just like a thin cap, and I never was able to get my money back. It was through an online seller, so guys, be careful where you buy from. Even as like careful as I am, I have got scammed a couple of times. So you're gonna find that on this too. Don't worry about it, it's not fake. And if you go through Sweet Care or a website like that, that is one of the only ones that I'm aware of. Wait, there's one other one in Australia that you can buy from that is, you know, authentic. Just be really, really careful. You know, you might want to wait till you get into the States, but Sweet Care is one that you can buy from and get 100% authentic fragrances. On a scale of 1 to 10 on this fragrance altogether, I'm gonna rate it at a 5. I do like the fragrance. I'm not blown away by it. I feel like they have had prior releases that actually outshine it. Like I said, it's not a bad fragrance, but the performance and originality is lacking, so that's why I'm gonna have to hold it at 5. Okay, so Acqua Di Gio Profondo's opponent today is going to be the new release, the Y from Yves Saint Laurent. This is Y Eau Fraiche. You can see that they have changed up the presentation a bit. This is the original Y. This is easy to spot. And then of course, if you don't know which one you're grabbing for, the EDP and the Live do look pretty much identical with the darker bottle. Now, in case you're new to this channel, I have owned the EDP. I did have to let it go because the ambroxan or whatever in it, the way that it was formulated, it really just screeched and just caused problems with my allergies. So I had actually traded the EDT for the EDP and traded the EDP back for the EDT. EDP does smell very, very nice. It was an improvement, so I felt like it was also a vast improvement with Live, even though a lot of people have crapped on this fragrance. This is a highly complimented fragrance. So to follow up a line that has got better each time, in my opinion anyway. I know some of you don't care for this line. If that's the case, I'm sorry. But if you're looking for a very nice, fresh, and invigorating fragrance that kind of pops, you might want to stick around for Eau Fraiche. So a very obvious difference in the presentation on this. So if you're going to grab all of them, if you have every one of them, I don't have that problem because clearly between the EDT, the EDP, and the Eau Fraiche, there's obvious differences in the bottle. If you have all four, you might have a little problem figuring out which one is the EDP and the Live. So into the scent on Y Eau Fraiche, I was really impressed with this one. Now, the few times I have worn Y out, I have actually got some compliments, but does it reach that magical 6 to 7 hours that would be like a solid summer fragrance? I'll let you know in just a second. Now on the Y Eau Fraiche, you're going to get a really nice opening. It pops, it has an effervescence about it. It has a pop of ginger.
Ginger slap?
mixed with some lemon, which makes it, I love, you know, like citrus mixed with ginger to begin with, which you're seeing more and more fragrances with that nice pop of ginger on the top. And I'm sure you probably have heard me talk about the ginger pop all the time, but it does really work. This one has been really nicely blended, and it does come off very fresh and aquatic like you would want in a summertime fragrance. And that lemon is just like really, really strong in that opening, but not to the point to where you're like, you know, it's like fresh cut lemon. But it is a fresh lemon smell for sure. In the mids, they have listed the juniper berries like they do in the rest. They also have some geranium, and I also saw that there was some peppermint in there. And actually, I've had a couple people ask me, like I posted this on Instagram the other day as my scent of the day, and people were asking me like if I got like a real minty vibe from it. So I don't get that real, you know, minty thing from the peppermint. It's more of a, you know, like, it's not like peppermint, like, you know, like you would see like in some fragrances where you definitely get like a real minty vibe. I personally don't get that. You do get some of the geranium. It also has lavender as a mid note. You're gonna get a little bit of that lavender mixed in with the frankincense and cedarwood at the base. As it dries down, it just basically dries down as a nice aquatic, fresh fragrance that has, you know, just little hints of ginger lingering in there with the frankincense and the juniper, and just a hint of lavender mixed with that cedarwood as the base. Now, I've heard some people, you know, give this like 3 stars out of 5, 3.5 out of 5. As for me, as far as just like an overall scent, I would give this an 8.5. I like it a lot. I feel that it does have a place in the Y line. It is a bit more fresh than this. This is more, you know, this is the EDT. This one is more of a, actually I'll bypass this fragrance. Let's just say that. When I smelled this in the store, I'm like, okay, there's nothing super exciting about it, but eventually, for some reason, I really started leaning toward this line, and especially as the improvements came, as each flanker came along, I felt that this was a really good and relevant line to have if you like blue fragrances. I enjoy the pop of ginger on the top of this. I love the effervescence about it. I actually feel that it does definitely have its place in the line, and if you're looking for a nice freshie that does get you that 6 hours of performance, I do get the 6 hours of performance on my skin. You know, again, same situation as the other fragrance I was talking about. If you have more of like dry skin, or if your skin just soaks up fragrance, you might get maybe 4.5 to 5 hours, I don't know. But I got a solid 6.5 hours with this, which is definitely a banger for the summertime anyway. So in the end, I would definitely say that I like the YSL Y Fresh better than I do the Profondo. Not a bad fragrance. This isn't super exciting. Neither one of them are super exciting, but they definitely, well, this one definitely has a place anyway. As far as like my line, I don't hate this fragrance, but if you had to go out and buy both, I would recommend this one over the Profondo.
I have spoken.
Now, I know a lot of you are sitting at home and you probably aren't sweating buying fragrances anyway. You're probably worried about getting toilet paper and your cabinet stocked and hand sanitizer, face mask, you know, whatever the case may be. But when you get up and around to, you know, being able to get those, I'd recommend at least sampling both of them. You know, your opinion may be completely different about this than mine, so I would just go grab a sample. That's how I would roll about it, because these are not going to be available in the US or at discounters anytime soon, especially during this epidemic. So guys, please take care of yourselves, stay safe, don't take any unnecessary risk, and don't go crazy. You know, for those of you who have to stay home and are quarantined, we are not quarantined yet, but I do see it happening very soon. Until next time, be disruptive, wear what you want, when you want, have fun. Make sure that you're subscribed to Carolina Fragrance Reviews, activate that notifications bell, smash that like button, leave us some comments down below. We'll see you next time on Carolina Fragrance Reviews.
Set me on to